Hi, my name is Hunter, and I'm going to go through our gummy bear experiment. So with this gummy bear assignment, we pretty much just to set it up, I have a bowl. I have two bowls actually. I'll show you here in just a second kind of more about it, but I have two bowls. They both have just regular tap water in them. And then one of them, which is my red gummy bear, I saturated the water with salt. I actually ended up having a little bit of extra salt in the bottom that didn't dissolve all the way, unfortunately. Took me a little while to get the salt to totally dissolve, but it's totally saturated and kind of just has a little bit sitting in the bottom. Both of the, just to kind of describe what all's going on, and I'll show you, it's a little hard to see. My regular tap water gummy bear is a orange gummy bear, and my saltwater one was red. Both of the waters are slightly stained the color of the gummy bear, so my orange one is slightly yellowed, and my red one is slightly red, maybe a little more, a little darker hue compared to the regular tap water one. So in describing the gummies, I filled the water up to where the gummy bear would be totally covered in water, not have any extra like sitting over the top or anything like that. So to describe the gummy bears now, my regular tap water gummy bear has significantly expanded. It is rising up out of the water. All of his features are pretty much, they're still slightly there. You can tell it's a gummy bear, but they are pretty distorted. Looks like a bear that's going into hibernation instead of a bear that's getting coming out of hibernation. And then my red gummy bear has it. I've kind of watched it over the, it's been about 7 hours since I put them in. My saltwater gummy bear it initially swelled a little bit, and then it's actually it's maybe a little bigger than, maybe a 1/10% of bigger than what a normal gummy bear is. Even in general, there was a place in the time when it was probably about, another half as big as about 150% of what a gummy bear would look like normally, still having, most of its features, but not all the way. So I'm gonna describe like the gummy bear that is in water. It is very soft, and some pieces are falling off. You can kind of see, it's hard to describe, but I'll try and show you. He's pretty big comparatively to a normal gummy bear. He's very soft, and he is very full of the water. And then my saltwater gummy bear is significantly smaller. This one also is the same color all around, so it is orange all the way around. I do make that distinction because I think it's kind of interesting when you look at the red gummy bear. It's hard to see, but you can see almost that it has a kind of white line up here, and it is it is kind of stiff, and like it doesn't feel like it has a lot of water in it. It actually feels pretty stiff, and it's almost chalky kind of feeling. The gummy bear in general, since now that it's out of the water, is actually a significantly less lessened of the red, and it is not quite all red. They are now in the same water, unfortunately, but that's okay. We're done with this experiment after this. So I'm just kind of going to describe now what all is going on. So the purpose of this experiment is to go through and see what you're working with osmosis. So both the gummy bears are, a gelatin mixture with sugar, and just kind of basically what a sugar, gelatin. That's probably about it. I did not look at the actual ingredients to go through all of it, but just kind of in general, that's what they're made of. So within that, the gummy bears are semi-permeable. With osmosis, we look at how easily a solution flows into the rest of the into the equation, into the compound, or anything like that. So the water is going through the membrane of the gummy bears to then create it is a hypotonic solution to go, so it's transferring from low concentration of the gummy into the high concentration of the water, and they're trying to create equilibrium. So the water is going from water into the gummy bear to where then they equal out, and they are similar, and their pressures against each other are the same. And then with the saltwater gummy bear, it's a little different. So the saltwater is a little lower of a concentration because of the gummy bear, or because of the salt water. It attaches with the water. It doesn't have nearly as much effect, so they both have kind of gone out of their they've used some of their bonding. They don't bond necessarily all the way through with everything else, so they don't feel, and they are a lower concentration of where they land. So what they're doing, instead of having to, they flip. So the gummy bear becomes the high concentration, and the saltwater becomes the low concentration. So the gummy bear is actually kind of pushing the water, the gelatin, everything like that is pushing out of the gummy bear, diffusing through its own cell membrane and going kind of into the water. That's probably also why some of the coloring is a darker hue, and it looks like more of the gummy bear is outside of it, and that's also why the gummy bear has kind of shrunk, because it is, it's the amount of its pressure is not within it anymore, and it's pushed out, so then it shrinks. And then it also, that's why it kind of has that kind of tacky, stiff texture, because it's thickened, because it's lost some of the, kind of the gumminess of it, because it's not, it's not the same as it was before, and it's not doesn't have that high concentration of moisture to keep out of it. So overall, I wouldn't say my experiment worked necessarily really well, just because you can tell a difference between the two for sure, but I don't feel like my gummy bear really was able to saturate all the way through. I don't even think with a couple more hours it would have. I think that probably the biggest portion where I could have gone a little better is, I think my water could have used a little more. I could have used a little more water in it, maybe to hope that it would have increased the amount of salt that was in the solution, to then, fully be able to get a better idea of it within that time frame. I don't feel like there was a ton of salt. I only ended up having to put in like 40 milliliters of salt, or I put about 2 tablespoons in, it's a little bowl, not very big. I filled the water up to about, you can't really see it, you can kind of see that it's a white line on there, but it was enough to I just basically filled it up enough to cover the gummy bear, and that was about all I did. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and I didn't stutter too much through it, so appreciate it. Thank you.